On what planet was that a good idea?
Yeah.
And they changed their formation for him as well.
Yeah.
Apparently QPR, who were talking to them in the off-season about buying the club, might be back at the table.
He goes, this kid's ceiling is very high.
When did you bloom?
It's still to come, I think. That's what he meant.
I'm waiting for it to happen.
Oh, that is special. Unbelievable. This, ladies and gentlemen, is football.
Hello and welcome back to Total A-Leagues. I'm Vince Rugari, joined as always by Tommy Oar, Daniel McBreen. Boys, what's cracking? How are we?
Great to be back.
Same.
Yep.
A-League just keeps on A-Leaguing. Another weekend where just like, as we were discussing earlier, what's the point of tipping, predicting? It's hard to form strong views because the week after they become null and void.
Yeah,
Yep.
we've got a lot of egg on our face every week when they come back and say, see what you said?
I prefer to just not talk about it, ignore it, and move on. Otherwise, not good, not good. Let's rip straight into our moments from the round just gone, round 12. I can't believe we're at round 12. This thing is flying. Macca, you can kick us off.
Yeah, I've gone with the Tom Lawrence Olympico. One for the goal, but also just the whole vibe around Perth and this guy in particular.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he says after the game, you know, he's loving life in Australia. He wants to stay longer. He's only got a contract, but he wants to extend that. And then he goes and does stuff like this and is with 700 other players on 5 goals for the season. I just think it's a good vibe coming out of Perth, which we haven't had for quite a while.
And if they're not careful, you said he wants to extend his stay. I'm sure that other clubs are looking at him as well. So if I was Glory, I would be snapping him up long term as soon as possible. 2
questions there. Did he mean that? And what percentage of players who score Olympicos mean it, do you think?
I think these days, because everyone's around the keeper, they just say, whip it into that area, and then if no one touches it, it goes in, and it's the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
But it seems to be more and more teams these days are just stacking that 6-yard box. So it's harder and harder for keepers to get there.
Completely agree. I don't think you're shooting, so to speak, off the corner. I mean, I wouldn't encourage that at least. So, no, I think exactly what you just said is right.
You would have done it at some point, wouldn't you?
No way. I think that there was nothing that would make me angrier than, you know, your team's worked hard, you earn a corner and someone shoots it out, often straight for a goal kick. And you're just like, well, on what planet was that a good idea?
Yeah. Well, anyway, good on you, Tom Lawrence. Tommy, off you go.
For me, Jets again. I've done a lot of Jets for my moment of the rounds this season.
Are you
but
secret Novocaster in here? Or?
But no, I think finding a way to, you know, obviously a great result against Auckland, and then now to back it up against City away, Lachie Rose with the important goal again, and another clean sheet. I think they've kind of addressed a lot of their defensive issues, and they're looking really good at the moment, the Jets.
How good's LA Rose, man? First of all, the name LA Rose has just taken off since he came into the comp when I think at MacArthur was Liam Rose was there, so he had to change up the name on the back, but it stuck with him. But also his journey's pretty incredible as well. Bloody playing MPL2.
Yeah.
Ante Milicic stumbled across him. I think he was...
I was coaching the Jets youth team at that stage in MPL2, and they smashed us 5-0, and he scored 3 goals. And I went back and said, there's this guy in Division 2 that's going all right. Yeah. And we sort of made a brief inquiry. He was snapped up already, and I was like, he's not bad. And
you have to give him credit too, because at the start of this season, he was on the bench. He wasn't getting many minutes, but since he's been getting the opportunity to play, he's almost scored every game. So,
and he's been involved in all those games. They're the form team in the comp. Yep. 4 wins in their last 5, and they are flying high. Yeah. Pardon the pun.
Very good, Macca. My moment is Lachie Brook's goal. I mean, you say the Jets are the form team in the round, and we're about to launch into a bit of a discussion on Auckland FC, but just these guys seem to be the most dependable team in the comp. Yep. That's a fantastic goal well by Lachie Brook, he's on one, Tommy. There's always been a bit of buzz about him. He's another one, surprise, who's come out of South Australia. His career, I don't know, he's had moments and fits and starts, and he went to Brentford and didn't play much, and he's gone here and there, but he's come back to Auckland, and he's in form, man.
He is, and I think he scored another cracker against the Wanderers a few weeks ago, but I think that, you know, I've been super impressed with him since he's come back. I think that, you know, since Joe Lolly's been injured, for me, he's been the standout player in the competition. I think that he takes Auckland to another level. It's not only the stats. He scored 5 goals, got 1 assist, but he's kind of the driving force of their attacks. Every time he gets the ball, whether he's out wide, he takes the player on. He's very positive. He also comes in the middle in between the pocket and gets the ball. And, you know, I think he's almost involved in all of their attacks. And for me, I think that he was a great pickup by Steve Corica. And, you know, if he keeps going in this way, I think that he could be there or thereabouts for player of the season.
I also think we always talk about Socceroos as a bolter.
Yeah.
plenty of talk about, he will be a Socceroo, but maybe the World Cup will be too soon. If he bangs in another 7 goals for the rest of the season and a few more assists and is playing the way he's playing, he could be the bolter.
Absolutely.
Really could be the bolter. I think he's been exceptional.
He's only 24 as well. I always thought he was a bit older because it feels like he's been around a while, but he's still got. I think he's got a very exciting future ahead of him for sure.
Some blokes blossom late too. Like how old was Aaron Moy when he came back to? He came to the Wanderers first and it didn't quite work there. And then he went to Melbourne City. I feel like he was mid-20s.
Yeah.
And from there, obviously, became an absolutely sensational. Are you trying to say that you were a late bloomer?
I was a late bloomer.
Yeah.
Were you? When did you bloom?
It's still to come. I think that's what
I'm waiting for it to happen.
we all are.
Very good, very good. Just hanging crap on each other and we've just started. This is fantastic.
We do it in the green room. Why would we stop here?
Carry on. All right, so Auckland, I just mentioned at least, the most dependable team in the comp. Went to Brisbane, got a 2-0 win there. Not an easy place to go, not an easy team to play against either. I know they're in a bit of dodgy form at the moment, but I don't know, Tommy, I just have a feeling that something pretty ridiculous is going to have to happen for them to not be at least top 2 in this competition at the end.
Agree, and I think the thing that separates them from other teams as well is their depth. If there's one injury, it feels like at centre back, Dan Hall, is it Pineacre? Who else is the Goodwin Reich? That's 3 of outstanding performers so far this season. It feels like across every position, Jake Brimmer's been out in the midfield. They can slot someone straight in there. They've got options in the front third. I think that's a seriously compelling squad. And you need a squad, at times in the season to get through the rough patches. And I feel like the best times for them this season are ahead of them because they're just going up and up and up.
Yeah.
And they haven't had Sakai for the majority of the season so far. Pineacre, who was one of the best players last year as well, who bullied defenders, is now back in. I think he's got his preferred back 4 there. Now when you add Vestrada in front of them, who another contender for player of the year, and we're talking about Brook playing. They got all these players in one team. We're going, could be player of the year, could be player of the year. And then you got at the front, Brook's on fire, Jesse Randall's been exceptional, and Cosgrove's scoring and assisting. But that depth is there that it's almost like, who can be challenging them?
Yeah.
Not only all that, Macca, but consider who they've got on the bench and in the front office as well. You got Steve Corica. We got clowned a little bit last season, I remember, for suggesting that Steve Corica was a very good coach. It's being proved again. You can have a good squad, but it's not guaranteed that they're going to perform the way they have. So you got him. You got Terry McFlynn, who knows how to run a successful football department. Their CEO is Nick Becker, who was involved with Melbourne City, probably the A-League's most stable club in terms of on-field excellence. So this whole operation is firing, and we should probably more often recognise that we've just had a club invented out of nothing, immediately entered the competition and become a big dog on and off the field.
Absolutely.
They've got to be the benchmark at the moment.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We're going to hear a little bit now from Lachie Brook. We were talking about this earlier as well, Tommy. A lot of Kiwis in southeast Queensland.
Yeah, there are.
I think, some may have travelled, some may have been locals turning out in force at Suncorp on the weekend, but Lachie Brook was repping them as he spoke post-match.
Can you talk us through Port on tour? Obviously, you've got a great contingent of travelling fans there tonight at Suncorp Stadium. Tell us a little bit about the team, about the home fans, about how much this team means to you as well. We're showing some vision for the fans at home now of that little T-shirt exchange going on.
Yeah, no, it's they're massive for us. I think this was their away trip for the year. And to get this many people out, it's massive for us. We see this as a club and as a team, before the game, and it really spurs us on. I mean, every home game, they're exceptional. And yeah, we've all got like a really good relationship with them as well. Even when we lose or we draw, they back us, and we're not really copping too much heat. And yeah, it goes a long way. And obviously, repping them today, and I'll probably wear this to bed. But they're really good. They're really good.
Good stuff there. My main takeaway from that, boys, is that it's still like at least 6 months until Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out. That shirt, so that's just reminded me that we've got a long time to wait. But how good. I mean, that's part of what we were talking about before as well, on and off the field. Yeah. They had the supporter base, and there were questions as to whether they were going to have it, given what happened with the New Zealand Knights earlier in the competition. This is different gravy, different level, travelling supporters. It's magnificent. And
also the fact that he said that when they lose and they draw, they don't got much grief. Well, it's because they don't lose and they don't draw very often. So when
they've barely had a wobble, to be honest. They've had a couple of bad results here and there, but when you put it in the context of this league where crazy stuff happens all the time and no one knows what's around the corner, they've been very, very solid. So big game for them Friday night against Melbourne City. that'll be fascinating, as will the return of Sydney FC to Allianz Stadium, which I'm very much looking forward to. They've done pretty well. I know they know Leichhardt Oval extremely well. It's almost their home away from home, but they've done well to maintain the results that they have, and a similar-ish level of consistency to Auckland while not even playing at their preferred home ground. Now they'll go to that home ground. Hopefully the pitch will be fantastic. Obviously that was the reason why they haven't been there. And now some of their foreign players who we've been starting to question, when are they coming? Piero Quispe, Tommy, finally off the mark, and he looked all right.
Yeah, I think the whole Sydney FC team blew MacArthur out of the water in this game. It was a really hot game. You were there, Macca. You can probably tell us more about that. But no, I think you wouldn't have known it was that hot by watching Sydney FC's performance. I think their tempo was good. They completely outclassed MacArthur across the pitch. I don't think there was one MacArthur player who got the better of his opposite number.
No.
And, Quispe and Campuzano amongst the goals, they were also great. I think that was a great night for Sydney FC. And after, a lot was said about their draw to Melbourne City the week before and how lacklustre that performance was, it was exactly the response they needed.
Yeah, and Kat had asked Uffy before the game. She said, you've got no Lolly, you've got no El Santure. Is this the time that Campuzano and Quispe have to step up? Because you can't give them, it takes time to settle now. We're in round 12, they should be settled. And he said, it's a game we need them to step up. And they both stepped up with goals. They both stepped up with good performances. And the other one was Pat Wood as well. He was exceptional. Really did well, deserved his goal and his man of the match performance. And they changed their formation for him as well. Yeah. They went to a 4-4-2, the old 4-2-2-2 that they do, where they come inside. And maybe that suits Quispe as well, where he can sort of wander in and out and not just be thinking, I've got to be central all the time.
I agree. And I think if you look at the City game the week before, Campuzano, he's not the kind of player that can hold the ball up, and he's not going to fight and get into the physical duels of the defenders. So having Patrick Wood there suited him better as well. So I think they looked a lot more balanced.
So.
And, Ocon Jr. and Yuli in the midfield too got the better of Luke Bratton and Liam Rose and Anthony Caceres, which is no easy feat as well.
Yeah, that's a good vindication of the direction that Sydney have gone in terms of letting those senior players go and backing their kids. But how about this bloke and the journey that he's had? I feel like he's been around forever as well. Not always, been on fire for Sydney FC. At his boyhood club, I think, as he mentioned after the game, and is now feels like he's a real contributor. I mean, that's fantastic. Great resilience from him.
Yeah, and 3 goals, and that was his first start and a man and a match performance to boot. And you're right, Tommy. That different element of him being more that bustle striker who's going to cause problem. He was niggling their defenders. Because I was at the game, he could see more. He was into one defender, then he was into the other one's defender, and they all were sort of having little bites at him. You could see he was getting under their skin, and for him to top it up with a goal and a great performance after not many minutes was shown great resilience, and it's good on him. We well deserved. Yeah.
Some of the Sydney fans probably thought Alex Baumjohann, the head of player management there, was crazy for letting first Luke Bratton, then Anthony Caceres walk out. But there's obviously a method to the madness, a plan behind this, and the kind of sort of medium to longer term strategy that most clubs need to have, if they don't already, in terms of who they're playing and what they're trying to achieve by playing them. Not only is Paul Ocon Jr. and Reece Yuli doing the job on the field, but the more they continue to do that, the more this club's going to profit from it very soon.
Yeah, I think they have been sensational, and I think, if you look about on the field, they have been the perfect foil for each other because, Ocon Jr.'s obviously had a lot of the plaudits for his technical play, got into the Socceroos, but Reece Yuli, I think that he's the perfect foil for him. He gets around the pitch, he's more combative, and he probably doesn't have the grace on the ball that Ocon does, but you need that balance, and they have so many kind of luxury playmakers in that team, the likes of Quispe, these players who they're not known for their defensive work rate. You need someone like a Yuli in that midfield to shore things up, otherwise it just doesn't work.
Yeah. And you speak to Alex Baumjohann, he says about Ocon Engsler, he has this kid's ceiling is very high. Everyone's got a lot of work to do, but every time I see him, he's like, you watch this kid. But these two remind me of if you go back to Teague and Valadon and you go back to Nizzy and Ballard. Nizzy and Ballard, these young players who have been thrown together. One gets the plaudits who's a little bit more of a ball player, a little bit taller, and then you've got the little rat that runs around beside him. And that's not taking away. I'm not trying to degrade their performances. They're not good footballers, but they work well together, and it's paying dividends for them at the moment.
Yeah. Quick shout out to, I think you mentioned Harrison Devonish-Mears as the most improved player in the comp. Yeah. Certainly agree with that. He's been on fire. We were people were calling him 7-ish beers last season. I think we can call him heaps normal now. He's absolutely sure-footed. He's turned it around.
He's been
and
great.
It's always good to see players bounce back from that sort of position. So well done to him and well done to Sydney for persisting at a moment when most other clubs would twist and go in another direction. So good stuff. Saturday night, we'll look further ahead to Adelaide United versus Melbourne Victory, the original rivalry. Always good. Adelaide United at the moment, Macca though, not so good. Threw away 2-0 at Wellington Phoenix. What's doing there? I haven't quite been able to get a read on how good they are as a team this season, because they started all right and then just, I don't know, injuries, this and that.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling confident.
They're in a difficult period now. Obviously, they've got 3 players out who play regularly for them, away with the young Socceroos in Dukuli, Alagic and Jovanovic. So there's 3 players going forward that are going to help you create. But also at the back, Bart Vriends has been injured now for a little while. Kiki Arnis had been out injured. He was the only really recognised defender in their squad this weekend. And the wind, I think, had a big effect in this game, obviously. When they were walking out, I was on the phone to Robbie Thompson. I said, this will be 4-0 one half and 6-4 the second with the wind. And it almost panned out like that. It was a very dominant display for either half. But I just think they're in a difficult period with the players that are missing. And we talk about Auckland's depth. If they were missing 3 players, you'd just go, boom, the next 3 in. Yeah. We know that Adelaide have always been a team that has a lot of young players. So they are going to be up and down.
Yeah.
The good news is they're playing a Victory side that's coming off a disappointing result. I think we're all looking forward to their game against them. Well, who bloody knows? It could be, it could not be. That's the thing about this league. Nobody knows. Anyone who says they know are lying.
Yep.
But I was looking forward to the Victory Wanderers game and thinking, like, righto, one mate is going to shove it to him. But he had a quiet night, and overall Victory were just a little bit dodgy, don't you think, Tommy?
Agree. I think that, the crisp passing that we've seen in the front third in recent weeks was nowhere to be seen. They were very flat. To be honest, the Wanderers were winning all the second balls. It was a pretty flat match overall, I would say. I think both teams kind of cancelled each other out a lot. There weren't too many clear-cut opportunities, but, it was a long stretch from the victory we've seen over the last month. And, they were a team going into that game full of confidence, and I think that will have knocked them back a little bit. But at the same time, I think that you look at the Victory front third and the likes of Valuplay, they'll fancy their chances against a depleted Adelaide defence, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Virgos has got history, hasn't he, against Adelaide?
I think he's scored 2 the last time they played, and will be, hoping again to capitalise on, they were making the right sort of movements, and I think he had a couple of opportunities. Valuplay as well was misfiring on the weekend, but he'll relish a game like this, I would have thought, Virgos. Even though he had a pretty dodgy start to the season as well, he seems to be the kind of guy who actually loves to put himself in the middle of big moments.
Yeah, exactly right. And Adelaide at the moment don't have a Panasopoulos who's in there winning everything, and you'd feel that they're going to get their groove. You said the good thing for them is they're coming off a shaky performance. Good thing for Adelaide, I think it's the reverse. I think Victory went into training on Monday and went, this has to go back to where we were. Because they were flying and all of a sudden they just bang, so they need to get back. And I would be, if I'm Adelaide, I'd be going, we need to be on our game here.
Yeah. Just quickly on Adelaide, and Craig Goodwin in particular, I think when he came back to the league this season, everyone was pretty excited, hoping that he would be the dominant Craig Goodwin that we've seen in the past. He hasn't been that. Hasn't been too bad though, and probably the eye test doesn't sort of line up with the numbers that he's produced as well. So he's only got 2 goals and 3 assists, but he's created 21 chances for Adelaide United, which puts him 8th in the league. I suppose he's just in a misfiring team overall. Like, where do you place him, Tommy? And I guess the big thing that is linked to this is the discussion around the Socceroos and the World Cup squad coming up. Is he still on course for that?
Well, I think, he's a fantastic player. So first of all,
so Tommy's saying no.
No, he is a fantastic player, but you see his influence on the team, his passing range, but he hasn't been the dominant force that we've seen him be in the A-League before. So he's not been poor by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not been what we've seen historically, and he's maybe guilty of his own kind of high performances in the past. So people probably think he's been a little bit disappointing relative to that. But I think if you look at Socceroos and say you'd never seen Craig Goodwin play this season, I don't think he'd be in the World Cup squad. But has he earned enough credits? I think that's the question mark that Papa will be thinking. His experience in the national team, he's gone to a World Cup before. How much does that play on Papa's mind? But I think that if you're looking at performances this season, I would put someone like Lachie Brook ahead of him.
Possibly, but that's not the only thing that Popper's going to, as you say, make his decision on. All those things you mentioned will come into it as well.
Yeah.
And I think just having Craig Goodwin in the squad could be a really good settler if Popper can afford to have a settler in his squad.
Well, that's the big thing.
For Nestori Irankunda, who is someone who absolutely idolises Craig Goodwin. And if we want to go to this World Cup and we want to see prime Nesta, he needs to have the right people around him. I'm not necessarily saying you have to have Craig Goodwin there to have a good version of Nestor Irankunda at the World Cup. But I just think if Popper assesses the options that he has, different kinds of sort of players in those inverted wing roles, Craig Goodwin's experienced, a lot of the other players in the front third might be young. It might just be a smart thing to have a guy like Craig Goodwin off the bench maybe.
And the thing as well with Craig Goodwin is his set-piece delivery is probably the best in Australian football. I think it would be, and set pieces for the Socceroos are such an important piece of what they do and how they score goals. So I can definitely see him getting in. I was just, I still think he will go, to be honest. But I'm just saying this season, I don't think he's done what he's done in the A-League before.
If he played for a team that had all possession like Melbourne City and more up the pitch all the time, he would have more goals, more assists, and he would have more creative chances. I think if you look at it in that respect, and Australia played that way where we're going to have possession and be higher up the pitch where he doesn't have to do as much up and down running, I think you'd be like 100% he could be a lock. Yeah. But yeah, I still think he'll go, but I don't think it's as much of a lock as we thought it might have been even 12 months ago.
Yeah. Interesting one to watch over the last few months of the season. To the Wanderers, they got a big game against the so-called form team in the competition, the Newcastle Jets, the box office Jets, whatever you want to call them. Interesting one here between a team that allegedly can't defend and a team that allegedly can't attack.
Well,
I don't think either of those two things is correct, by the way.
So let's have a look at both. The glasses are out. Let's have a look at both of them, because Western Sydney in their last 6 games have scored 1 goal from open play. So when you say allegedly they can't attack, they can attack, they just can't put them away. The other 2 goals have come from penalties.
Hey man, they're not my allegations.
No. You threw it out there. And the Jets, in their last 7 games, they have only conceded in 1 game more than 1 goal. And obviously that was 5 against MacArthur.
But that was just a crazy day.
Yeah, that was a crazy day. So when we talk about both of those things, you're talking about what here and there. They both, Western Sydney are up there for most, in the top 4, or they might even be 3rd for most touches in the opposition box. They've hit the post more than anyone else, as we know, because Stadge keeps bringing it up. Krayev has all these opportunities as well and must be thinking, how am I score a goal? So it's not the fact that they're not in those positions. They are there. And we've heard that potentially there might be a big-name striker coming in, and big in stature as well, as in Hiroshi Ibasuki might be going there.
That's the male. Yeah.
And if they're a team who put a lot of crosses in the box as well, we know that suits him. Yeah. He could be the one that turns their fortunes if he comes in and hits the grounds running.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well, they're second in the league for accurate crosses, the Wanderers.
Right.
So you'd like to think you slot Ibasuki in there. If he hasn't lost too much from the last time we saw him, he was a very productive A-League striker, aerially dominant.
Well, I think as well, if they get him in, then you have to go to a 4-3-3, because then you can have Borrello.
Stop.
Can't.
You
have to have Borrello and Foster out wide, and then all of a sudden you can fit your midfield dominant squad. You can fit more of them on the pitch as 3 in the middle. So I think that's a no-brainer if they get Ibasuki. You go 4-3-3.
No-brainer. Interesting term. We will see. Hey, also some mail on the Jets front as well. It's not just mail, actually. The envelope has arrived. We've opened it.
Right.
It says Zach Clough. They've signed Zach Clough from Adelaide
Great
United.
signing.
Yeah.
So obviously knows Millsy, Mark Milligan really well from his time as an assistant at Adelaide United, and really fills a need there, don't you think, Macca, in terms of Badalado being injured, a lack of, or a reduction in creativity, let's say. Cloughy should fill that nicely.
I think he's the perfect fit for that team. The way he plays, the way Millsy's got them going, I think he'll just fit in seamlessly and it'll just hit the ground running. It is a match made in heaven.
Completely agree. His technical abilities, his football smarts, I completely agree. I don't think there'll be any transition period either. He should just slot straight in.
Speaking of football smarts, here's your opportunity in a moment, Macca, to brag about yours. This is Eric Pardalou and Mark Milligan talking about why the distance between the passes made by the Newcastle Jets are so important.
It was the patterns that you had, and you're on the front foot, and everybody was in the right distance at the right time. Is that what you're so pleased about? Because everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, you touched on it there. Distances are very, very important for us. And in the first half, I thought we were a long way off where we need to be. So transition moments we weren't controlling like we wanted, and that does come from an attacking frame of mind. So second half, I thought we were much better. And, you know, like I said, the boys dug in against Auckland. You know, it was 10 days ago, but we had a couple big injuries, and that does take a toll on the group. So we've had some fresh legs come in, but it's about now getting them the minutes that they need. And credit to the ones that came on. You know, like I said, you can't predict these kinds of injuries, and it's so important that they're prepared for days like today.
Feeling good, Macca?
Well, I'm pretty sure if you go and look at the tactician a few weeks ago, I said exactly that thing. So it's good to know that Millsy's watching this show and taking notes, and you know, he's improving every week.
So why don't we have a clip to show?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Oh, because I
you
didn't use the word distances. I said they're too high. Transition moments, everything he said except distances. Come on, language.
But it is true. I think they are picking their moments.
It's true that I was right?
No, you're not that.
It's true that he's
Millsy's right. No, I think that they've learnt their lessons defensively, and I think they're playing a little bit less naively than they were at the start. And they still haven't lost that potency in the front third, though, which is, you know, to shore up defensively and keep that potency in the front third. That's why they're looking so good.
Yeah. Not quite looking so good at Central Coast Mariners, at least in the short term, I think. So obviously there was the news that came out during the week that the APL has taken over the management of the club, which will hopefully only be for an interim basis. All the noises coming out of the APL are that there's pretty high confidence levels that they won't be managing the club for too much longer. There's a couple of interested parties, apparently QPR, who were talking to them in the off-season about buying the club, might be back at the table, another couple of foreign clubs. This does mean some turbulence in the short term, and some people will be affected, and that's disappointing. But if it's the kind of thing, Macca, that, you know, we grind through and then on the other side of it we have some stability for once for the Central Coast Mariners, then probably that's a good thing.
Yeah, look, a number of times it would appear that, well, Charlesworth said he was trying to offload the club. A number of times it seemed that there was an agreement made and then it was backtracked out of. Charlesworth's now stepped away, so there's a stumbling block that seemed to have stopped it quite a few times. That's out the way now, and I think the APL has seen that there is interest there, like very good interest. They can step in for a short time and make a bit of short-term pain to get this over the line, to have some real long-term stability and get an owner that really is going to come in and do the right thing. Now, okay, Charlesworth's been there and you can say, you know, he's put his money in and all that stuff. That's great. We need someone who's going to come in and say, this is a football club. You've got to be competitive every year. You can't just go pick and choose and do it. We're going to do it once every 10 years and wait for someone else to come in and help you do that as well. It needs to be someone who has a long-term vision for the club, to foster the academy, to sell those players on, etc., but also along the way, give the fans something that they can go and win. And I think this is the process that needed to happen for a long time. And I think it's great that the APL's now doing this, and hopefully they get it done quickly. We understand that there's going to be a little bit of heartache in between, but I think for the long term, it's the best thing.
One thing that the Mariners fans have probably never had, which is the feeling heading into a season that is, I'm confident we're going to be decent. Because even in the years that they have been, it's been against everyone's predictions, I would have thought. Some of the guys who blossomed for, you know, particularly the teams that won the grand final under Monty were discards from other clubs. I'm thinking specifically of guys like you mentioned Nisbet and Ballard before. These guys were not wanted elsewhere. So when they got signed to the Mariners, it wasn't like fans were, you know, jumping up and down at that time saying, yippee, we've got this guy. It was through excellent coaching and a fantastic team.
Great scouting as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they brought a lot of guys in and had them in their academy for a couple of years and the youth team and brought them through. So they scouted at 16, 17, 18, which is what the best academies in the world do. Bring them in and then they're our academy products. A lot of them aren't, though.
And they give them a chance to play.
Correct.
It's not only just having them on the books.
That's the main thing.
But I think if you look at recent history of the Mariners, what you're saying is exactly right. Every year it feels like they're the biggest underdog in the league.
So imagine how different it's going to be if they have an owner with vision, and this is no disrespect to Mike Charlesworth, but someone who's going to spend more money and wants to make sure that they're, not just competitive, but top half competitive consistently as well. That will be a different feeling for Mariners fans going into a season.
It's probably more akin to when Arnie was the coach, even though there was difficulties behind the scenes, but on the field, you went into every season thinking they're a chance to win it this year. I don't think they've had it since he was the coach, to be honest.
Yeah.
I left at the same time as him, so that's probably
That is a coincidence.
Turn it up. Unbelievable. Fingers crossed for everyone at the Mariners. Best wishes grind through this period, and hopefully on the other side of it, there's some joy. For now, we're going to look ahead to round 13. The fixtures coming up this weekend. Boys, take a look at this and tell me what tickles your fancy, Tommy.
City, Auckland high flying, and City, I think they just keep stumbling, and they're going to need to start putting together some wins to make sure they're in the mix to make the six at the end of the season, because at the moment, going off form, it's going to be difficult for them.
I don't mind a late night, Friday night game out of Perth as well, and that one could be decent as well. Brisbane, rough run at the moment, playing a lot of games, a lot of injuries, to then have to go to Perth, and this Perth at the moment, won't be too much fun.
No, it won't be. I like the most informed team in the comp at the moment, the Jets. Western Sydney got their win. They need to back it up. They need another win straight away. So this is a real high-intensity game for me, because there's no point them winning one game and then just going, we're
like
going
the Sydney Derby.
Yeah, exactly. And then Sydney back in Allianz. I think that's always a good one for them. The crowd gets back into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's no Narlin this week. She's off at the tennis doing her thing. Good luck to her. So we're just going to have to try and
fumble through,
fill the void there, try and be funny. Penalty kicks. You blokes have taken quite a few of them.
Missed a few as well.
Over the journey, no doubt about that, Macca. Costa Barbarouses, however. Let's have a look at this one on the weekend against his former club, Melbourne Victory.
It was slow, wasn't it? It looks faster now that I see it.
I think he must have seen the goalkeeper move. Otherwise you can't have the confidence to just roll it down. I mean, I certainly wouldn't.
I wouldn't either. I've missed so many that I wouldn't have the confidence to do that.
Yeah, I only took 2 in my career, and both of them were laces. I wasn't. If I missed, I missed. But I was like, it's not going to be because the shot's not powerful enough.
Well, I took loads and I missed loads.
But no one has ever done anything quite like this. I don't think you could do this even if you tried, and I'm pretty sure this bloke wasn't trying to do it. Eric Borthiak.
No.
I think this went globally viral at the time.
Yeah.
Well, the reason he didn't mean it is because he runs after it. Like when he hits it, he runs as he'd say, I didn't mean that.
There's a sense of panic on his face. And I feel like the celebration as well, if you look at the way he was sort of like looking at Nick D'Agostino, it was a bit like, what the hell have I just done here?
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
And the defenders, I think, normally you have to be sharp for the follow-up. If they were a bit sharper, they could have just cleared it, I reckon.
There's no chance he meant to do that, right?
No way.
No way.
No way.
No chance. But this is how you should take him.
Danny Vukovic, last day of the season, he looks about 12 years old here as well. I can't actually believe that.
Wow.
Just take it like a goalkeeper.
Emphatic.
Only goalkeeper to score in the A-League. And that's what I've always thought. Why wouldn't all goalkeepers take it? Because it's just like a goal kick. Walk up, hit it as hard as you can, a little bit high, and no one's getting near it.
Happy days, boys. Come back soon, Narlene. No, I'm kidding. Thanks for watching. We'll grind through another week next week. We'll see you there.